Welcome back to the show. Many thanks for staying with us as always. Now, the Electoral Commission is calling the bluff of the NDC over the opposition parties' demand for the EC to withdraw a statement announcing plans to compile a new voters register. The EC, in a statement after an inter-party advisory committee meeting yesterday, said it had agreed with the parties to compile the new register before the next election in 2020. In a statement, the NDC said the EC statement was deceptive and must be withdrawn since no such agreement was reached at the said meeting. The NDC issued this statement. I'm going to read a bit of it to you quickly, give you some excerpt. It said it begins by saying the National Democratic Congress NDC notes with concern a communique issued by the Electoral Commission after the IPAC meeting held on Wednesday, the 27th of March 2019. It says that we take particular notice of a portion of the EC press release which states, quote, the Commission will compile a new voters register ahead of the 2020 presidential and parliamentary elections. We wish to state emphatically and without any fear of contradiction that no decision was taken on this matter. In fact, the compilation of a new voters register was only mentioned in passing by the EC during discussions on the limited registration. There certainly was no, quote, extensive deliberations on this particular matter. And it goes on and ends to say that, curiously, the communique was signed by only the chairperson of the commission instead of the representatives of the various political parties. Can the EC explain why this is so? The NDC therefore dissociates itself from the communique and demands its withdrawal as it is not in consonance with the conclusions of the IPAC meeting. It may interest you to note that there were decisions taken which did not find space in the communique. One such decision was for the EC to decentralize the limited registration exercise to the electoral area level in accordance with the time-tested practice in all limited registration exercises since the beginning of the Fourth Republic. The NDC cautions the EC to be mindful of its core mandate to act as a credible, impartial referee in the country's electoral processes and to play by the rule books. It is signed by Johnson Asare, the General Secretary of the NDC. Now, it's a two-page document, and I've tried to give you excerpt of it. What we get to hear from the NDC shortly. First, though, the EC's explanation to the concerns raised by the NDC. My colleague, Emefa Apau, has been speaking to the Deputy EC Chairman, Dr.Bossman Asare, and the Commission's Director of Elections, Samuel Tete, in this exclusive interview.
After an IPAC meeting yesterday, the NDC, one of the parties that were at the IPAC meeting, has raised a number of issues. And we'll start off with you, Dr. Bossman Asare, I should say. Then we'll come to Mr. Samuel Tete. I would first of all want to find out if the discussion of a new voters register was on the agenda for yesterday's IPAC meeting.
Yesterday's meeting has, had one of the main agendas as the district level elections. And in the discussion of the district level elections, the commission mentioned that we are going to have a particular mode of registration. And we made it very clear that the reason why we wanted to have that mode of registration happens to be the fact that in 2020 we are going to have a new register. So if we should resort to the offline mode of registration, which will require the purchasing of certain equipments, which we will no longer be using them in 2020, it will not be worth it. So we took a decision that we will be having an online registration. And because of the online registration, next year we told them that we will be doing a new register. So that was made very clear at the meeting. And when we mentioned that nobody raised any contrary view, whether they were against or even they were supportive, there was nothing like that. So at the meeting, we came to the conclusion that this was something the partners were very much, pretty much excited about. And the thing is that it's not something we are even doing it in 2019, it's 2020. So certainly this is a discussion that will come up severally. Something which will not happen this year is 2020.
So when this issue came up, are you saying that none of the parties raised any issue about it? At least they heard that we had raised this, but it wasn't up for discussion, was it?
No, in terms of up for discussion, when we talk about elections is very broad. And the main agenda for yesterday had to do with the district level elections. And when it comes to elections, we have to register Ghanaians who have not had the chance to register, and those who have also just attained the age of 18. So in that process, we have to come up with a system of registration. Normally we have what is called a continuous registration, the online registration, and the offline registration. And when you want to do the offline registration, you have to buy a lot of equipment based on our current stock. And we as a commission have taken the decision that next year we intend having a new register. We wanted to have a new one. So if we wanted to still go by the offline, then it means we have to buy certain equipments which we will not need again. And let's be very clear, let's be very frank with the people of Ghana. This register was used in 2012. It was used in 2016. And one of the main challenges we have in this country is cleaning up the register through the exhibition process. Because if somebody even comes that I have evidence that this person is dead, it's very difficult to go through the process and clean. Because if you are not very careful, people will come and tell you that someone is actually dead and the person is even alive. And we have had that instance before when some people said somebody was dead, but the person was indeed alive. So, and when you look at the track record from practice, no register has been used for more than 2 elections. We use the 2004 one was used for 2004, 2008. The one which was compiled for the 2012 was used for 2012, 2016. So when you look at it from that particular perspective, the commission has come to the realization that no, something must be done. And we shouldn't also forget that IPAC is an advisory body. So it's not like anything the Electoral Commission will do, then everything, if we think this is the right thing to do, then we are waiting for the parties to say yes or no. For that one, we are not going to do that. Because that's why we are here. Because other than that, why would we be appointed? I used to teach at the University of Ghana. Why would I stop my job and come here, then somebody will sit outside? IPAC is an advisory body. Some of the things we do, we find it necessary to discuss with them, but some of the core issues which are very critical, it can be for their information. This is not to say that we are not going to be consulting on the things we do, but the parties should not have the impression that everything the Electoral Commission does, they must sit down for them to agree. If we as the Commission, we are convinced that the register is bloated, there is a problem with the register, we'll go ahead and do the right thing. That's why we are here.
Okay, so Mr. Tete, let me bring you in at this point, because we've been told that at least Dr. Bossman Asare has said the premise that the register used twice, like at least for 2 elections. But the argument is that most of the time it is used for 10 years, and 10 years is next year. The impression is that we are going to change the register this year, because previously there were concerns that the register was bloated. Yet this same Electoral Commission under another commissioner felt that there was no need for it. The reasons that were given was not tenable for us to have a new register, even though we had been told that it had been bloated up to about 76,000 foreigners. But why the need for a voters register? Because VCRAC Crafts panel stated that there was no need for us to change the register.
Okay, thank you very much. For you to change your register, I don't personally believe that maybe you use it for one election, 2 elections, or whatever. The bottom line is, what are the challenges with the register that you have compiled? I hope you get me. Based on that, then you have a determination as to whether you will change it or not. Let us look at the register that we have currently. Apart from the fact that We are complaining that it is bloated. Apart from the fact that we are complaining that we have underaged people on the register, we also even have a problem of the verification of the fingers of voters. And if you can remember, during the referendum, there was a huge argument about the number of manual verification forms that we used. So it is very prudent for us to add certain things, certain features, which will actually make our register clean. And the commission decided to add the facial recognition instead of the fingerprints, which will lead to manual verification and all these things. So looking at the entirety, looking at the whole thing, we are looking at the disadvantage, we are looking at the challenges that we are having with the current voters register. And that
my colleague Yemefa Apau there engaging the Electoral Commission officers there about this. So joining me on the line now for a very quick one on this is Joshua Hamidu Akamba, the national organizer for the NDC. Mr. Akamba, thank you for your time this afternoon.
And good evening to the cherished listeners.
Right. I believe you've been listening into the responses you're getting from the Electoral Commission.
Bits and pieces of it, yes.
Hello?
I've gotten some information on it. Yes, I heard you.
Okay, so that is in reaction to your statement, in which you're actually demanding the withdrawal of what you're calling the deceptive IPAC communique. How do you respond to their response?
It's quite unfortunate. I heard Dr. Bossman, I'm sure, speaking and contradicting himself. First, he said it was something that was discussed, the person. Then he gets back to say it doesn't actually matter whether they have to discuss it with us or not. What he should realize is that he's not running his private business. The political parties are parties, we are holders to EC. And whatever EC does there. The EC is there, Dr. Bosman is there, he's paid with our taxpayers' money because he's there to work for Ghana and not for his private business. Madam, yesterday, the information I got from my elections officer, the Honorable Ankra, was that this was nothing that was discussed. I mean, it has to do with this assembly elections, continue to situation that weeks ago, Madam Jane Mensa had issued a letter, communique out that people should come and pay and get their what do you call it, the voter's ID card. Then you get up and say you are changing, you are giving us a new register. And then Dr. Bosman then says that if anybody comes to tell us, on the day that we'll be doing the names, or we'll be having a new register, won't people die on that day? Is Dr. Bosman going to be talking to God and telling God that, God, because the other register that we had, people might have died, and then there were issues with it, and we couldn't clean it properly. So God, please, don't let anybody.
Well, Mr. Kamba, yes, if we just stick to the issues now, the point is that you are asking them to withdraw a communique, an IPAC communique, which you are describing as deceptive. He's saying that in any case, IPAC is an advisory body. The Electoral Commission is not bound by the advice that IPAC gives.
Why would IPAC then? Why won't the EC have gone to call the police or the military to come and be their advisors? Why would they involve the political parties? It's because the political parties are stakeholders. They are there because of us. Is that right? So if we are the ones that are supposed to be dealing with you, we are partners in this whole thing. And we are saying that what you are doing is not right. I mean, we just saw the U.S. report that talks about the removal of Madame Charlotte Osei and all that. I'm sure that Madame Jane Mensa and her colleagues will give us a peaceful country. It doesn't look too good the way they are behaving. The arrogance by which they want to move Electoral Commission is not going to help this country. And I'm pleading with them that they should listen to us, that they should withdraw this letter and their intention. But we know what their intention has always been, and we know why Madame Charlotte Osei was removed, for them to come in. And if they want to do, they've served their master, for this one, let them serve the interest of Ghana. For this particular changing of register, let them serve.
Well, Mr. Kamba, you need to provide evidence to back what you're saying. I mean,
yes, I will provide the evidence. You and I know that it has always been the Nana Akufo-Addo and his NPP wish.
Mr. Kamba, once again, if you make any accusations, those accusations will have to be backed by evidence. But bottom line, from what we've heard this afternoon,
if you have allowed me, I would have
hold on, sir. Bottom line to what we've heard this afternoon is that your demand for withdrawal of that communique will not happen. What is your next line of action?
We will have a meeting and discuss the next line of action too. We will also communicate to each other and see the next line of action. I'm sure that this country had always been very peaceful before they came. So let us have a peaceful country, and we'll also go into a meeting and discuss it. And then there are too many ways that we'll also handle this issue, and we will.
Okay, Mr. Akamba, thank you very much. We'll be standing by for the decision that you take in this meeting based on the response that you've had from the Electoral Commission. Joshua Akamba there is the national organizer for opposition NDC.